Hello, Year 3, and welcome to your first reading comprehension lesson this week. This week we will be learning about fiction texts. Can you tell me what a fiction text is? Fantastic. A fiction text is a text that is made up. It doesn't give you information and it doesn't give you facts. It's a made up story. Fabulous. Now, let's get into discussing the features of a fiction text. What is this over here? Great, fantastic. That is the title of the story. And the title of the story is Who's a Clever Girl Then? Who can tell me whose name is this and why it's there? Fantastic. That is the name of the author, and an author is the person who's written the story. The author of this story is Rose MP. Can you tell me what this feature is here? Fantastic. That feature is a paragraph. Paragraphs are used to make the story seem more interesting, but also to start a new bit in a story. Can you tell me what these are? Fantastic. They're speech marks, also known as inverted commas. They are used when someone is speaking or has a dialogue in a story. Fantastic. Can you tell me what this punctuation here is and what it's used for? Great. This is an exclamation mark, and it is used to show emotion or command, or when someone's shouting or saying something very loudly or with a lot of feeling. Fantastic. Okay, now let's get into reading the story. So, the title of the story is Who's a Clever Girl Then? Once upon a time, and not so very long ago, a little girl was walking to school. She was a sensible sort of girl who could make her own packed lunch and do her mum's shopping without losing the change. She was also far too sensible to talk to strange men whom she met in the street, especially ones with peg legs, scars on their faces, patches over their eyes, and scruffy parrots on their shoulders. So when she saw four strange characters fitting this description, she quickly turned the other way and kept on walking. But the pirates had seen her. She was just what they were looking for. "You look like a sensible little girl," growled the biggest pirate, who was called Jake. "We want a sensible little girl like you to join our gang, don't we, lads?" "Yes, yes," cried the rest of the gang, covering their mouths to hide their smiles. We're rough, tough pirates, and we sail the sea in a mighty fine pirate ship. We have rare adventures, don't we, lads?" boasted Jake. "Oh, yeah, yeah," said the rest of the gang. They didn't seem quite so sure about this. "All we need is for you to join us. Then we can go off on raids. Isn't that right, lads?" said Jake. "Yes, yes," they agreed, more strongly this time, again covering their mouths to hide their smiles. Now, the little girl knew better than to listen to this kind of story from such wicked-looking villains. She knew they were up to no good, but the idea of having an adventure was far too tempting to miss. She didn't exactly stop, but she walked on more slowly. So now that we've looked at this text, let's discuss some tricky words. So one of the tricky words that I saw was villains. What do you think a villain is? Fantastic. A villain is a bad guy. What do you think the word sensible is? Sensible is when someone does something in a good manner, so they don't do silly things, they do good things. Sensible, that will not get them into trouble. What is growled? Growled is like a sound that a bear makes. Great. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So tomorrow, after you've read this text, you will be answering some questions along with the text. And it's important for you to follow these key tips for when you are answering your questions. So the key skills to help you find the answer to these questions are: number one, read the questions slowly and carefully. Number two, make sure you take notes of the words in bold. Number three, always underline and highlight key words in the question and then find them in the text. Number four, then read around the words to find the answer. Number five, if there are more than one part to a question, make sure you treat them separately, so you answer them separately.